It wasn't the most prettiest from Colombia, but they do return to the World Cup for the first time since 2018 after the debacle they had in the 2022 World Cup qualifiers, where they couldn't score one goal in 7 straight games, and that was their downfall in not qualifying to the World Cup. But this time around, maybe thanks to the expanded format of the World Cup, they do return. And now we're going to talk about what are the expectations for Colombia right now? Who are the star players? Is Néstor Lorenzo going to fix what is still a broken national team, in my opinion, ahead of the World Cup? So let's talk about it. So Colombia returned to the World Cup for the first time since 2018. It's a huge achievement for the nation because this nation deserved to be at the World Cup. One, because the amount of Colombians that live in the United States, Mexico, and Canada, I mean, the support they're going to get is wild. It's going to be like a home game in Medellin, Bogota, Cartagena, Barranquilla. I mean, they're going to have such huge home support that's going to really, I think, drive the national team, give them the extra boost they need in these games that are going to be very tense, as we know, with the World Cup. Two, they are a star-studded team. If this team did not qualify for the World Cup, I don't even want to know the riots that there would have been in Colombia, because of all the players they have playing in Europe and all these high-caliber teams in South America, if Colombia missed the World Cup, that would have been a travesty. And a travesty, I think, also for South American football. You want to see players like James, like Lucho, like Yon Duran, like Luis Suarez, like Richard Rios, Yon Arias, Yon Lukumi. All of these players deserve to play at the World Cup. So thankfully, Colombia did qualify for the World Cup. Like I said, I think it's a huge benefit to them because if this was the normal 32 teams, that final match day would have been insane. It would have been insane for Colombia, and they would have really been under pressure to get a result in Maturin, but they don't have to suffer with the pressure anymore. Now, I want to talk about Néstor Lorenzo first off. I still think he is the right manager, and I think it was very critical that they got that 3-0 victory over Bolivia. They got some confidence. Yon Cordoba, scoring for the first time since the Stone Age, it seems like. You could just see how much pressure he was under, and he took off his shirt. He was just so ecstatic about, and huge relief, I think, for him as well to get a goal. And, we've been very critical, and I've been very critical of the striker because, yeah, he's had some horrible misses in these qualifiers. But Néstor Lorenzo, still, for the next couple months, October, November, March, and the 2 games maybe that they will have before the World Cup, he needs to figure out his best 11. I don't know what that best 11 is. You guys can let me know in the comments down below if you're Colombian. I have my best 11. I will talk about that heading into the World Cup. But he needs to figure it out. You cannot keep changing. Okay, let's play Davinson Sanchez, Yerry Mina, Cuesta as the center backs. Maybe give Yon Lukumi. You have to just stick. You have to have partnership and chemistry because this Colombian team, if you can't fit everybody into the starting 11, you got to at least have a solid bench. Because all of the talent they have, Yasser Asprilla, I don't think he even got called up to this window. That guy is a baller. Yes, he hasn't had the greatest club career, but Cucho didn't even get called up from Real Betis. That just shows you the amount of talent that Colombia have. So Néstor Lorenzo, he's got a lot to fix on because he had everything perfect. He had the perfect formula heading into the Copa America. That's why they went on that crazy unbeaten run. Lucho was playing fantastic. James was showing his 2014 form once again. They were defensively solid with Mojica and Munoz just providing width from the fullback range. So they had the perfect formula heading into the Copa America. And ever since they had that victory over Argentina in Barranquilla, the first game after the Copa America, it's like, everything just completely fell apart. And then Néstor Lorenzo was figuring, okay, let's play this guy, that guy. I think he's been tweaking too much. And I don't think he's still picking the best 11. So still, Néstor Lorenzo is under a lot of pressure to figure this out. I don't think they're going to sack him ahead of the World Cup, barring, just some absolute, inside the change room sort of beef between him and the players. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think there is still a lot of pressure under Néstor Lorenzo. And I hope he can figure it out because he clearly kind of understands the DNA of Colombian football. Free-flowing football. Free-flowing attacking football. That's Colombian DNA. Colombian DNA is not to just sit back and be defensively a solid team. That's not Colombian football. They want to be a free-flowing side with Donio Munoz and Mojica providing the width. That's what I think of Colombian football. Obviously, Yon Arias is such a key player. But it's wonderful to see James Rodriguez return to the World Cup one last time. And we kind of saw that moment yesterday when the stadium was empty and he was sitting at the half-field line, just looking at the Barranquilla Stadium and thinking to himself, this is it. This might be the last time I ever play in Colombia. This might be the last ever time I play in this stadium in CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers. James, he's a legend for Colombian football. And what he has provided for the national team and that he gets that opportunity to still play at one more World Cup. The motivation for him is going to be crazy at that World Cup. For him, for Messi, for a lot of legends for their respective nations to play in still one more World Cup, it must mean everything to James. So seeing that moment, you kind of understood like, okay, the end is near. The end is near for James. He might retire from the national team after the World Cup. We might not see him again at the Copa America. So enjoy the moment, people, because that game in Maturin, whether he plays or not, it's probably going to be James Rodriguez's last ever CONMEBOL World Cup qualifying game. And what a legend, absolute legend of a player. And so happy we get to see him. I know he's not the same James as he once was. And maybe he's kind of dipped in form since the Copa America where he was still fantastic. Still James Rodriguez and still a World Cup. When the World Cup turns around, James then shows up. But look at the other players they have on this team. Jon Arias, baller. Richard Rios, you guys know I love the player. Jefferson Lerma. Obviously, they also now making the move for Real Betis. Lucho, one of my favorite players in world football. I mean, this team is so star-studded that if you just look at the lineup, just solely the lineup, you would say, Colombia, they should be making it to quarterfinal. Now, I don't think they're going to make it to the quarterfinal as of right now, and obviously we're going to have to see based on the friendlies, the form, and how the players are doing. As of right now, I would probably say max round of 16. I just think they can get by with their individual talent, but maybe Nestor Lorenzo's tactics, or also it's just the mindset and the mentality of the Colombian national team sometimes. That's why when they got that victory over Uruguay in the semifinal of the Copa America, oh my God, you just saw the amount of relief for the players, and they kind of thought to themselves, wow, finally, we got over the line in a huge game. That's always kind of been the big thing for the Colombian national team is can they get over the line in those huge moments at a World Cup, at a Copa America. Now, let's see if they can regain that form. They kind of lost it a little bit in the last year. Hopefully now with this window beating Bolivia and finally getting a victory, maybe they can regain that form. But this team is star-studded. So as a neutral, if you're just looking at it, if you don't really follow CONMEBOL football, you just think to yourself, I don't care about the results. I just want to look at the team on paper. You're saying, man, this guy plays at Bayern Munich, Real Betis, Bologna. I mean, you guys know I didn't made that video about Colombian players making transfers to Europe and overall the Colombian players making moves around Europe. It's like this team already, and clearly there's a value, and you can clearly see that there's quality amongst this side. So now the pressure's on the players and definitely on the manager. But hey, it's Colombia's 7th ever World Cup. It's a moment to cherish if you're a Colombian, and a moment to cherish if you're a Colombian living in America or in Mexico or in Canada, because you might be able to see your national team play at a World Cup, which is a huge moment for any person around the world to see your nation play at a World Cup. But in person, live at the stadium, hearing the national anthem, there's probably no better feeling about it. Then you're cheering, and then you're realizing, oh shit, Jon Cordoba is the striker, so we're going to lose today. No, just kidding. Look, Jon Cordoba did his thing. I'm just so fascinated to see how the dynamic works with this side. Who's going to be the starting 11? Who's going to be the starting striker ahead of the World Cup? Whether it's still going to be Jon Cordoba, Luis Suarez, Cucho, or Yon Duran. Who will be that starting striker? Who will be the starting two center backs? There's so many question marks, I still think, with this national team. But it's definitely an exciting time for a Colombian, for a Paraguayan, for an Uruguayan, for an Ecuadorian, a Brazilian, an Argentinian to see your national team. And it's very important also for South American football that these nations do well at the World Cup. Because, yes, Argentina won the World Cup in 2022. I get it. But most of the other national teams, they severely flopped. Uruguay out of the group stage. Peru didn't qualify. They lost to Australia in the Intercontinental Playoff. Ecuador went out of the group stage. Brazil lost to Croatia. Obviously, Argentina won it. So there needs to be some respect put back on to the South American teams. Colombia have to perform well. Paraguay have to perform well. So Colombia, they're under massive pressure, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of neutrals or people who don't really follow international football who just poo-poo it every single time and saying, oh, these guys are dark horses. Yeah, they can make it far. Okay, you haven't watched this national team. You haven't seen the defensive liabilities within this side. They got the personnel. Let's see if they can turn around for the next year. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, people. How far do you think Colombia will go at the World Cup next year? Is it around a 16, a group stage exit, round of 32, quarterfinalists, semifinalists, finalists, World Cup champions, maybe? And who is the most underrated player on this team? I think it's Munoz. The right back is just sensational. I know he didn't play yesterday against Bolivia because he was suspended. Munoz is a baller, absolute baller. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here for more South American football content and World Cup qualifying content. We're going to have so much for the next couple months heading into the World Cup. We're going to have previews for every nation. So if you love that sort of content, remember to subscribe. And also, remember to follow me on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, join the Discord, all those links, description down below. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Till next time, Adios.